1370.
Priceless.
So now I come into this really refined and dignified kind of a situation. Come on, I'll show you.
Politics is hot and buzzing in 2012. Some say that this is the most important election of our lives. Politics is hot, hot, hot. I almost need some dramatic music when I say that. Yes. The bottom line is, folks,
The Craig Bushon Show. The Craig Bushon Show. The new Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370.
yeah, that's my new addition to my show, the G6 song. I mean, come on. I just like the rhythm. Let that play for a second, Jonathan.
The Craig Bushon Show.
Give me that mo wet, wet. Give me that Christmas stab.
Yeah, that'll give me the East of 35 crowd. I don't think anyone in my neighborhood is pumping that music out of their, what are they listening to? That new little thing, that little wave radio thing that they now talk about on American Idol, I think it is, or The Voice, or whatever it is.
Philip Phillips.
Yeah, the Philip Phillips. Yeah, I don't know if they're playing that. But I like that song. Thank you so much for getting that loaded up. Got a very, very big show today. Got all three cameras live. As you know, the only program in, I think, the whole state of Texas now that has three high-definition cameras running at one time.
It's in HD.
And we're going to need it because today it is packed full. I don't have a lot of time for chit-chat, but I do want to say hello to Mr. David Whitehead. How are you, sir?
I'm great, sir. I am jazzed to be in the same room with our guest today.
Oh, good. Really? Excellent. Do you want to say who it is?
It's Ryan Downton.
Yes, Ryan Downton. In about 1 minute here, I'm going to bring him on live. You could probably see him already on CBTV Online. Know that we're doing a lot of broadcasting now, simulcasting in a lot of different areas. CBTV Online, as you know, also on Mondays and Tuesdays, we're launching some great programming from 2:30 to 3:30. We're building that up, working some stuff with the Armed Forces side. Yesterday, as you know, my shirt that you see right now, Heroes Night Out, very involved with that organization. We had Congressman Carter out at our big Memorial Day barbecue out at H&O, Heroes Night Out. So, you know, the whole idea is we got to get the message to as many people as possible. And really quick, okay, I want to let you know, as you know, I've replaced Bama with Case 101 for the Round Rock Parade, and now it's this year going to be myself. Thank you. And we always thank Bama for all the years that he did work out there, but I'll tell you, we're going to be doing some new things. One thing that I'm going to do for the Round Rock Parade on the 4th of July, teamed up with Sotoma. Obviously, they do a great job, and the big fireworks show at the end of the day that they have every 4th of July is we're going to broadcast it on CBTV so the people in the armed forces can watch it anywhere in the world. That's a big deal to me. You know, Military Mothers, Blue Star Mothers, many different organizations out there, F7 we've been talking with. There's a lot of great people involved to get this message out. And that's why I'm so excited about having the cameras in studio and teaming up what we're doing here on Mondays and Tuesdays with Intercom and 96.3 FM, 1370 AM. Hey, also 95.5, HD3. I could go on. It's everywhere, David Whitehead.
Yes, it is. Craig Bushon is everywhere.
Hey, we're going to talk a little bit later if we have time about the book.
That'd be great.
Yes, I've got the Let Me Tell You Something series of books coming out, and you're going to like it because I've got a few things here that, you know me. The title is Candid Conservative Comebacks to Loony Leftist Lies. Yeah, you're going to like that, folks. Kind of in your face. I'm going to slap you across the head with a big soft pillow until you get it. But welcome back to the show, folks. As you know, 3 days a week. But I'm going to get right to it because we got a stacked show today. We have a lot of people on. First guest that we have in-house, I was involved with what was called the HD 47 Circle C Candidate Forum. We had Paul Workman, who is the incumbent representative, and then Ryan Downton, who's running against him. Welcome to the program.
Hi, Craig. Thanks for having me on today.
Absolutely. Good stuff. So how Memorial Weekend? We'll start with that. Any plans?
I'm going to be out knocking on doors. You can see I'm dressed casually today. This morning I went to 4 church services, greeting people there. And then we're back down in Circle C, meeting people this afternoon. I've got several volunteers out now. I left them to come in and talk with you, and as soon as we're done, I'll be going back down there.
Well, I like what you said about church, because Ted Cruz is coming on on the show later today, and we were booking some things around his church. So I like to hear candidates that believe in God. It's a beautiful thing. But a big race, as you know, I saw you just recently at the HD47 Circle C Forum. Paul Workman was there. What'd you think of the forum? What'd you think of the folks?
Well, I want to thank you and the people of Circle C for putting that forum on. I thought you did a great job moderating. We had a great turnout. We had about 50 people there.
Yeah.
They were really involved. They asked a lot of very good questions to both of us.
Well, and I think that's the key to me. I believe that the forum was great because of the people that showed up, and I completely agree. And for 50 people to show up for the first time it's ever been done, we're going to start doing that consistently. I am now in HD47, so now I even have more skin in the game. As a delegate, I have more skin in the game, so I've got a lot of things going on. So I'd like to practice what I preach for my listeners, right?
Exactly.
And the same thing of like what you're doing. You're a businessman. Tell a little bit about yourself for the folks that may not know. There's a lot of new people getting into the game now. A lot of people are going to be voting, and I want them to know all the candidates. Paul Workman's been there. Now here's Ryan Downton. So tell folks.
Well, thanks. My background, I went to Vanderbilt University, got my MBA there, then came down here to Austin and got my JD at the University of Texas School of Law. I practiced law for 10 years with several international firms, and I currently have my own firm. My wife and I also had the opportunity to found and run a small medical imaging company. And we did that until Obamacare. And that was the final impetus for me to get out here and run, because we experienced with our company the devastating effects that Obamacare had and is having on small businesses around the state and the country. And after experiencing that personally, we were forced to sell our business, and we want to get government out of the way, keep that from happening to anyone else, and let the private sector create jobs and grow the economy.
Well, I'll tell you, that forum that we had, the Statesman did an article on it, and they said we focused a lot on, amnesty. We focused a lot on, there's the paulworkman.org that's out there and the stuff that brought up. And we could talk a little bit about that, too, because a lot of people say, well, boy, that sure is kind of, we can't believe someone would do that in politics. And I laugh and I go, excuse me? This is politics. This is the game of politics, and it is, and it's points. It's a sport in a sense. The person with the most points wins, and there's strategies. And what I like is when we have forums like that and the people can come out, they can ask the questions. And it wasn't myself, for example, that kept it there. It was the people that were there that asked those specific questions. Because the fact is, the House Bill 2886 that a lot of people have been talking about, that's a big platform for you. What are the things you specifically are going to do different that Paul Workman's not doing? It's obvious that you want to beat him. What are you going to do different once you get in, if you get elected?
The biggest thing that I think I'll do different is I'll be more responsive to my constituents. I feel like Paul, in general, if it's a choice between his constituents and the construction industry, he picks the construction industry every time. That's where HB 2886 came from. It's a bill to give amnesty to illegal immigrants, essentially so they can work in construction. And then it's going to have the Texas Attorney General use taxpayer dollars to defend those construction companies from federal prosecution. And I'm not sure if you saw in the Statesman yesterday, but they did a PolitiFact check on that. And they concluded that, well, it's not a path to citizenship, which I've never claimed it was, but other than that, it is amnesty. It is letting people who are here illegally continue to stay here and work in Texas, and then Texas law enforcement can enforce federal law, which they've broken.
Well, I will say, as a former tradesman, licensed contractor, state of Arizona, grew up in the trades. My father was a licensed contractor. I grew up in a family of tradesmen, okay? Family members that were masons. I had family members that were licensed contractors, including myself. I can say that I understand what it is. When David Whitehead, you asked a great question there that day about,
yes.
You come from also a family of painters.
Of house painters, and I painted houses for 25 years. Doesn't that bill, though, also go even a step further in giving driver's licenses to illegal aliens?
Yeah, it gives driver's licenses. It tells employers that they can't discriminate against illegal aliens. It's got a bunch of provisions that I don't think are appropriate. I think we need to be focused, especially in this down economy, on creating jobs for Texans. And as far as illegal immigration, yes, it's a problem. No, we can't deport all the illegal immigrants in the country. But we need to be looking at the employers. If an employer is hiring illegal immigrants knowingly, they need to be prosecuted. We need to stiffen the penalties. We need to implement E-Verify so employers can find out if they're hiring illegal immigrants and stop. And if they choose not to, then we need to prosecute them. And if we do that, illegal immigrants won't come here. They come for jobs.
You're a big proponent of E-Verify, aren't you?
Yes. I think it's a great first step. It's not perfect, but employers need to be able to know if the people they're hiring are legally entitled to work here. E-Verify helps them with that, so I'm not sure why anyone would oppose that.
Well, I think E-Verify is just another part of the truth serum that we have to have in this country. We need to know specific and exact whom everybody is that shows up somewhere.
The truth.
We need to know when someone goes to a poll, you got to have some form of ID. If you want to get a job, you got to be able to prove who you are. And, I don't like anything personally that even smells anything close to amnesty because it rewards the bad behavior. And I will say that my opinion is this is some tough love we have to put on ourselves where we're going to have to do the hard things to try to unwind what people up. I'm 44 years old. It was a generation before me that did this. That's a fact. And now we're inheriting these situations. And there's a lot of great people south of the border, wonderful people. I love many of those people that try to come across here because listen, I might be doing it myself if I live there and I want to take care of my family. But we are a nation of laws. We're a sovereign nation, and we need to do what it takes to get our sovereignty back. And the best way to do that is, and I concur with what both of you said, is we have to focus in on the people who are hiring the people that are being led to break the laws.
Yeah, and I do want to be clear, I'm not anti-immigration.
Right.
My father's an immigrant from Ireland. Immigration has been the backbone of this country for hundreds of years. We need people to come here. People come to America for a better way of life and for opportunity. But when people don't play by the rules, it hurts everyone trying to come here legally. You've got thousands of people around the world waiting in line to get into this country for jobs. You can't have people skipping that process.
Absolutely right. In my opinion, we have got to start enforcing the rules of this free nation. And because we haven't for a very, very long time, we have what we have. We're $16 trillion in debt. We have the strongest military in the world that can't defend its own borders. Communism is beating capitalism. I could go on and on and on. So I like the idea, and go right back to the forum. I want, once a person gets in, and I'll pose this to you, if you win, will you show back up in these communities? I personally have a big problem when people, they get elected, they go to the ivory tower, and they never come back. They never come back. And then they just keep moving on, and they move up. Those days are over. We have got to start holding people accountable for the things that they do while they're in office. And so you get elected. Do you commit that you will come back to the community, stay in touch with the folks as a representative?
Certainly. Every event I'm invited to, I intend to attend. I want to be going to school events. I want to be going to Boy Scout events. I want to be going to church events. I am a part of this community. I want to be out and involved in the community. And if people will let me know about an event, I want to be there.
Well, and that's what it's all about to me, ladies and gentlemen. Making sure that the people that get in office are representative of the people. Always know, right? It's we the people. And the bottom line is, if you're in a community and you haven't had a forum lately, push to get it done. Grassroots is key. The politics that's closest to your home really affects you, heck, all the way down to your front lawn. What city code says that you can do. If people say, well, I don't think I'd even run for dog catcher. That's another problem. I want to focus on this for a second. A lot of great people won't even run for office anymore because of what people have to go through even to get in. And I don't think that's what it's supposed to be about, as much as I think we should have the best people in office. And, then that points over to the paulworkman.org and all that kind of stuff. Do you want to just explain to the people how that happens and why politics is that way? And just tell the folks, just kind of get that out there.
Sure. It's really hard. I mean, for me, I spent 2 sessions ago as general counsel to the Texas House Committee on Technology and Economic Development. And I was there serving the people of the state and working hard. It was a committee of 7 Republicans and 2 Democrats. But if you read my opponent's mailers, he says I worked for Liberal Democrat Mark Strama. Well, he knows very well that I never worked for Mark Strama. I never worked in his office. I never had anything to do with his campaign. I worked for a committee. He was the chair of that committee, and the committee was a majority Republican committee. I worked for all of them. It's things like that that make it hard to get people to run, when someone's going to take what you've done in the past and your service to the state and misrepresent it to try to use it against you. Now, I'll contrast that with when you're an incumbent, you've got a record, and people should know about your record in your community. And hopefully, if you're proud of your record, you're putting your record out there. In my opinion, in this case, Representative Workman has been hiding some of his record from his constituents. And so I created a website, paulworkman.org, about his record. And on there I put links to his bills I disagree with and other activities in the past that I disagree with. And I put all the information in one place. It's all publicly available documents, but you've got to go to 10 different websites to find them. So I pulled it all together in one location. So if voters want to get educated about the parts of Mr. Workman's record that I disagree with, they've got a place to go.
We right now have TJ on the line. One question, though. One. I know TJ is going to be like 10 questions loaded into one question, but TJ Scott, obviously been on the program before, works very hard for the Republican Party here in Travis County. First of all, welcome to the Craig Bushon Show. And what is your one question, Mr. TJ Scott, for Ryan Doughton?
Okay, I have one question for Mr. Ryan Doughton because I am not stubborn. All right? Paul Workman definitely has an agenda with the construction industry. I want to know, Ryan, do you have some hidden agenda out there? I mean, you talk about you used to work in the medical field. Does that mean that you're going to be all about the medical field? I mean, what is your hidden agenda that it may come out to bite your constituents because you're more worried about getting money from this lobby group or that lobby group instead of listening to your constituents?
Hey, TJ, thanks. That's a great question. I don't have a hidden agenda. I mean, my goal is to represent the people of our district, and that's been my campaign. I've knocked on more than 10,000 doors. I've been out in the community trying to ask people, what do you want in your representative? And hopefully I'm going to represent the people well. Now, there are certain issues that I feel are moral issues. I'm pro-life. And I think that's, for me, it's a moral question. So that's not an issue where constituents are going to convince me to go a different direction. But they know that going in. On other issues, I want to hear what you guys want, and that's what I want to do. The medical industry, yes, I owned a business in it. I'm familiar with the medical industry, and I'm certainly going to meet with people in the medical industry about what they're interested in, and then I'm going to find out who disagrees with them, and I'm going to meet with those people. I don't have any bills for anyone in the medical industry that I'm planning on filing at this time. I also haven't gotten a ton of contributions from any single industry, so I don't owe anything to any special interest group.
Thank you, TJ, for the call.
I have a follow-up question.
No, thank you, TJ. See, that's the way it works, you know. But see, when your name is on the show, yeah, we kind of have. That's why I have two producers, though, because I get some pretty energetic people. But no, seriously, thank you, TJ Scott, for calling in. You know, let's talk about health. We got a couple minutes left here. That's a big deal. Obamacare, what's going on right now. A lot of people, I had Alberto Gonzalez on, you know, former U.S. District Attorney or Attorney General to President Bush and all that stuff about waterboarding, and now we've gone kind of beyond that, and now here we are with Obamacare, healthcare industry.
They talk about me like a dog.
Specifically, and again, we just have a few minutes here, what specifically puts you out of business? What part of Obamacare? Because people don't know those answers. What put you out of business?
Obamacare implemented a 25% rate reimbursement cut for MRIs and CAT scans. My business, that's what we did. We did MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans, ultrasound, and we didn't have a 25% margin, so we weren't able to sustain that. Obamacare, I believe, is designed to force consolidation of the healthcare industry, and long-term, I think you'd like the government to control all of it. But by having those rate cuts, it doesn't actually decrease the cost of healthcare. Because, for instance, my imaging center, we were a low-cost provider, but we couldn't survive with that rate cut, and so we sold our business to a hospital. So now people come into the hospital, get the same scan done, but they're paying 2 or 3 times as much as they were when they were paying us independently. So Obamacare, in this case, has decreased patient choice and increased expense. And I think that's an example of why the bill's bad, but there are so many other reasons. It's just an incredibly oppressive piece of regulation.
Well, see, I don't particularly red flags don't go up when I hear someone has a background in something, even in the trades. Okay, if someone has it in the trades, great. But let's do it to make it. If you're going to go in, use it for the will of the people. You know, so go in, and I would ask you, if you get elected, you go in and you do what you can to make it better and fair for the people who are struggling out there. And that's a lot of middle American people who work for Home Depot, their insurance costs have skyrocketed. I personally know people that are paying considerably more, even with giant Home Depot, which is a great company, and they've done some great stuff for us at Heroes Night Out, but even those costs have been driven way up, and I'm talking 30-40%, just because of the mention of what's coming with Obamacare.
Yeah, healthcare needs to be reformed. I don't think Obamacare is the way to do it, but we do need changes. There's no reason in my mind why insurance can't be sold across state lines. Once you do that, you open up competition.
I agree with that completely.
Probably cost goes down.
Absolutely agree with that. Why there are so many rules that we need to deal with in this country that we are on purpose, because we are allowing these rules to be implemented on us, not being able to buy and sell insurance across lines. It's not like we're trucking cores from Smokey and the Bandit or something. You know what I mean? And the bottom line is we need free trade in this country. Competition is key to driving costs down.
Yes.
So, okay, before we let you go here, top 2 reasons why people need to vote for Ryan Downton.
Sure. First, they need someone that represents them, and that's what I'm out here to do. I'm not tied to any special interest group, and I will be there representing you. That's the biggest issue. The issue I've been focused on, well, I'm going to throw 2 in.
That's
we
okay.
haven't had a
Go
chance to talk about water. 70% of the water from Lake Travis goes down to rice farming. And rice farming is a great industry, but they're getting subsidized, and they're paying $6 an acre foot for water. We're paying $150.
They're subsidized by whom?
By
us.
Yeah, by the people of Austin, both the city and the surrounding areas. We're paying $150 a foot for water. They're paying $6. So they're getting the benefit of our high water costs, and they're taking 70% of the water. That's the reason Lake Travis looks the way it is. It's not the drought. It's not local consumption. It's the rice farmers getting it at a severely discounted rate. I'd like to see us start looking at moving towards a market rate to save our water. And if they can make money doing that, great. If they can't, then it's probably time to look at a different crop.
So what's the argument? If they do that, rice prices will go up? And so the argument on the other side is, hey, we need to pay like 1/10 of what everyone, heck, 1/5 of what everyone else is paying. Heck, it's even less than that. Like 5% of what we pay.
Yeah.
And that's just, to me, anytime I see stuff like that, that's outrageous to me, because we, the people, it's our water. What happens is everything goes up. You can't water your lawn. If you're a business, your water bill goes up. God forbid you have to use steam cleaning or you have a car wash. And then all the rules get jacked up, and they start passing laws, all because someone else is being subsidized. Now, all of a sudden, we have to inherit laws to take away our freedom of what we can do with our own water that we own. We, the people, we own this water. So I like that you're bringing up those arguments, because a lot of people don't think about that. They actually think it's because of the drought why Lake Travis looks that way, because they just don't know.
Yeah, and that's a big issue for this district. Transportation's another big issue. TxDOT really needs to prioritize us. We're such a high-growth region, and our roads haven't kept up. And I think I can bring a fresh face to things. I think that certainly the government in Washington has failed us. The government in Austin has been a little better, but we can do better, and I think we're ready for the next generation of leaders.
Well, as people know, I make fun of I have different brands of water I bring in, you know. They're probably toxic because it's in plastic. But now we're even said, hey, you can't even drink your tap water anymore. So now people buy bottled water. Now people are being told, hey, bottled water, maybe that's bad for you. Maybe you need to drink your tap water. Water is a big issue. T. Boone Pickens owns more water rights than like anyone in the world, well, for sure in the state of Texas. That's not an accident. Water is the new oil. It is, and if people don't think that, I think that they're going to wake up one day and they're going to find that their costs could quadruple what it is now if we do not look at our issues with water. And it isn't just that we don't have, it's raining all the time somewhere. We've got to capture it and put it somewhere. But if we're just going to sell it off for subsidies, doesn't mean we're going to be able to use the water. So I'm glad you bring that up.
Yeah, and rice farming is one issue with the subsidy, but at the end of the day, we need to increase supply. We need off-channel reservoirs. We need to look at desalination. We need to find ways to get more water for our region.
How about a pipeline from Oregon and Washington where it rains all the time, like an Alaskan pipeline?
Or from the Mississippi River.
Or the Mississippi River. I don't know why we don't do that type of stuff. And how about dams? When's the last time we've raised a dam? Oh, you can't because there's a squirrel. I mean, whatever. I think they'll move. They'll go up 10 feet higher. All these things are questions that we need to start talking about in this country because we have more and more people living here. State of Texas is growing dramatically, and we need to focus in on our survival rights. Water is a huge key to that. So, and the bottom line is, when you educate people, here's my opinion, and I have not decided who I'm going to vote for yet, but I think my people who listen to the show know where my mindset is. But I will be putting some endorsements out probably later today. But I like the idea of candidates bringing up things that a lot of regular people just don't think about. And those aha moments, bring them to the polls. We need more people coming to the polls.
We do. Turnout's only been 3% so far this year for the primary. We need to get people out. Election's 2 days away. Please, everyone, come vote.
Thank you so much. Ryan Doughton, it's a pleasure having you on the show. I applaud you for the effort you put out there. Good luck in your race. I think, obviously, if you get in, please do what you say you're going to do. I want the next generation, I want the young people to strive to be a leader in the community, strive to be politicians to help. I don't want it to be something that that you shy away from. So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks so much for your time, Craig.
Well, there you have it, folks. Go to RyanDoughton.com. RyanDoughton.com. We put a link up on Facebook. Get involved. You've got 3%? Are you kidding me? I mean, listen, if you got 3% back on your money, you might think that's a good thing right now. But the bottom line is, it's bad business. It's Memorial Day weekend. Heck, what are we fighting for? Why are we battling? Why do we have a military? To do what? So you don't show up for the basic thing that we have to do? That's vote? Check it out. And again, thank you to Ryan Doughton. Go to RyanDoughton.com. And we'll be back.
Ladies love my style. At my table getting wild. Get them bottles poppin'. We get that drippin', that
The
drop.
Craig Bushon Show. The Craig Bushon Show. The new Talk Radio 96.3 and 13.
If you are over the age of 30 and are serious about losing 20 to 30 pounds of fat, please stay tuned to this important announcement. A local market trial is starting now for an incredible medical weight loss breakthrough. You may be eligible. We are looking for 200 people to participate in this risk-free trial. Be one of the first 200 callers and you are guaranteed participation in this trial. To reserve yours, call now. 1-800-LOSE-FAT. That's 1-800-LOSE-FAT. 1-800-LOSE-FAT. 1-800-LOSE-FAT.
Gold and silver man-made paper money, which is worth more and which will last longer.
Listen to Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370, Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m.
1-888-551-2646.
I really trust Scott.
This Father's Day, fire up Dad's grilling imagination with a luxury outdoor kitchen from Flow Grills. A gourmet grilling consultant can customize Dad's outdoor space to meet every requirement. Stop by the showroom at 183 in Anderson Mill or visit flogrillsaustin.com.
Do you know how fast you were going, son?
Call me Ed.
Do you know how fast you were going, Ed?
You mean exactly?
Yes, exactly.
No, not exactly. How fast?
Fast.
Faster?
You were going very fast.
Fast is my job, officer.
Fast is your job?
Yes, sir.
What kind of job?
I deliver, sir.
What do you deliver?
The world's greatest gourmet sandwiches.
I thought Jimmy John's had the world's greatest gourmet sandwiches.
Jimmy John's does have the world's greatest gourmet sandwiches.
So you deliver for Jimmy John's?
I deliver for Jimmy John's.
So do you always deliver fast?
I always deliver fast.
How fast?
I deliver subs so fast you'll freak.
It's not smart to freak a cop, son.
You didn't order Jimmy John's sub, sir.
So if I did order a Jimmy John's sub, when would I get it?
Now.
What if I don't want it now?
Then call later.
Or I can pick it up myself.
Or you can pick it up yourself.
Because I'm pretty fast, too.
I'm sure you are, sir.
Very fast.
I believe you, sir.
Faster than you.
No way, sir.
Way faster.
In your dreams.
You dissing me, son?
No, sir, I'm polite.
Fast and polite?
Very polite and very, very fast.
Is that a challenge, son?
No, sir, it's a fact.
Let's burn rubber, kid.
You wouldn't be fair.
Why not?
You've got a fully blown V8 Camaro with slicks and headers.
So?
I've got a 10-speed bike.
I'll let you off with a warning.
Jimmy John's, America's favorite sandwich delivery guys. Visit jimmyjohns.com to find a location near you. That's jimmyjohns.com.
If you are interested in your ancestors, in your family tree, Ancestry.com is the world's largest family history resource with over 9 billion historical documents online. Birth, marriage, death, military records, immigration documents like ship manifests, even past census information. It's limitless on what you can find. Visit tryancestry.com, get 14 days for free, a full 2 weeks to make your own discoveries for free, like Jackie just did. After 4 days on the site, she found a sister she never even knew she had. Over 34 million family trees, 115 million pictures scanned, documents, written stories. See how far you can go back. Visit tryancestry.com for 14 days for free. Tryancestry.com for free 14 days. That's Try, Ancestry.com.
It's the 3 for sale at Mother's Window Tint. Save on tint, alarms, and car stereos. 3 in window tint from $19 a window, $99 for an entire car. Alarms that start your car by remote control and even send you a notification of trouble from $199. How much does it cost to make your car go thump, thump, thump? Mother Thump, a $1,000 Kenwood car stereo system, just $750, an $800 Sony system, just $599, and a $500 Pioneer system, including subwoofers, just $399. Plus, with every purchase, get a 3-month membership to South Austin Gym and a 1-month express pass to Arbor Car Wash, free. Mother's Window Tint, 3 for you sale. Stores in Austin, San Marcos, and San Antonio. Online at motherswindowtint.com. 28 years serving you with quality products at dirt cheap prices. Mother's Window Tint, home of the tint and alarm special. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
Would you like to know how to become 3 times less likely to experience a home burglary? Mike Melton, president of Security Alarm Now, is here to tell us about that.
Statistics show that you're 3 times less likely to have your home broken into when monitored by a home security system. Right now, we're offering listeners a complete ADT security system free of charge when they call 1-888-403-7165. You only pay $99 for the installation, and the monitoring is only about $1 a day.
That's really economical, especially when you're talking about the safety of your family. Are there any other offers for our listeners?
Yes, the next 20 people who call 1-888-403-7165 will receive a free upgraded 2-way voice keypad, which in the event of an emergency allows you to talk to the ADT dispatcher through your keypad. It will also include a $100 Visa gift card. If listeners call 1-888-403-7165. That's 1-888-403-7165.
The new Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370. Like us on Facebook.
Please stand by.
Social media. Find out what your favorite hosts are talking about.
That this is a very complex situation, and I don't like anything that takes away my freedom. Whether it's an outside source pushing in on us, I don't want it to affect my freedom at all.
The Craig Bushon Show. The Craig Bushon Show. The new Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370.
Yeah. Hey, happy Memorial Weekend to you. Thank a vet. I was, as you know, folks, I'm heavily involved to bring the private sector and the veteran world together. The organization's Heroes Night Out. I hope we can capture it here on the cameras I have in studio. We had a big event yesterday. I want to thank Congressman Carter for coming out. He's been a big supporter of us at H&O. We have a 4,000 square foot facility in Cedar Park. And we had about 1,200 people out there yesterday, and bands, and Tony representative, or soon-to-be representative, or wannabe representative, Tony Dale, friend of the show. I think he's going to win personally. I've endorsed him myself. But the bottom line is this: don't forget, while you're tipping back the old Bud Lights or Shinerbach, what we're really doing here. And how all this really plays into the political process. Because as Ryan Doughton and I spoke about when he was on a moment ago, showing up to the polls, folks, it's key. No excuses. No games. No, gee, it's not going to make any difference. Just politics, it's over. Forget about it. They're just going to go there and do whatever they want to do. No. Make no mistake, the people that I shared the stage with yesterday, and the 1,200 or so people that were there, and the families and the kids, and these veterans with prostheses where they've missed an arm, a leg, an eye, TBI, traumatic brain injury, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, which there is a bill in the House right now to push the D away because it is post-traumatic stress. The fact of the matter is, folks, Memorial Day weekend is here on purpose. It's a necessary thing that we have to do. to make sure that we never forget why we get to have our political processes, why we get to stand up in front. You know, if you want to be a state rep or a U.S. congressperson or you want to be the president of the United States, the leader of this country, the president, is also the leader of our military. And the governor is in the state of Texas, for example. There's a responsibility that we all have. Politics is a big focus right now on this show, as you know. I have Diane Costa coming on in just a moment here. I'm very excited about having her in studio to talk about what she is going to be doing different, than what's been done in the past. But I need to let you know, folks, this is a show that is also dedicated to all of our veterans and their families, the kids that are out there. If you have something going on in your neighborhood and you know that there's a vet that's come back home, go say thank you. Go knock on their door and say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You see a guy walking around, you see him with a USS something. We're losing our World War II people because they're just getting old, and God bless them. Korea, Vietnam, when you see them, buy them a coffee. Walk up and say hello. Say thank you. Look them in the eyes and say thank you. And that's the key. And one of the greatest ways you can thank them is to vote. 97% of the people are not going to show up to the polls. That bothers me. I hope that 100% of my listeners, the thousands of people that listen to this show and follow on Facebook, the 80,000 people we can touch throughout social media here, just if you show up, if just you show up, you can change the political dynamic. 3%, folks. My next guest is somebody that I wanted to have on the program. As you know, this is a forum that I'll allow anybody on that I think has a message that's worth listening to. And Diane Costa, how are you?
I am great. Craig, how are you?
I'm well. I'm good.
Yay.
Yeah. Sometimes I pull myself down into the weeds and go, hey, you got to vote. Something basic like that.
Well, as you and I were talking about, one of my sons is a sniper.
Right.
And was in Iraq the first time they got to vote. For generations, they had not been able to vote. And these people were willing to stand in line to vote at the loss of their life.
Right.
And then he says, Mom, and then we come back and we have early voting, we have absentee voting. Wow, this is important.
And it really is, and I thank you for what you do, because I know it's hard to be a mom of people who serve. It's a family affair, and this is Memorial Weekend, right?
Yeah,
and this
absolutely.
It's listen, people barbecue, and I'm going to barbecue. I'm going to have fun, and I'll probably have a margarita because I love them. But I think it's key that we don't forget, and people who are running for office, especially now, you're looking at U.S. Congress. I mean, as you go up into the chain of command, if you will, within the political system of this country, the more influence there is of even where our boys and girls go in war. And so I applaud you for being a great mom, but also the sacrifice that it takes, mentally and emotionally when you have a child that's over there serving. So, because it's a family affair. I say we're all in this together.
Well, it's interesting because when my brother was in Vietnam, you waited for the letters to come. But with my two sons, they were deployed at the same time. They could use their cell phone to call. And they'd say, Mom, start praying, and hang up. And you knew that they were going on a mission. And part of you didn't want to hear that, but then you did want to hear that because you wanted them to know that they were being covered in prayer and that they could go on and do what they needed to do.
I've got to tell you, this year is the first year I'm going to be emceeing the Round Rock, Sertoma, the big parade that they have, and the huge fireworks in the evening. It's gigantic there. And we have many, many entrances, maybe 200 or more this year. But we're actually going to broadcast it. You see the cameras within my studio here. We're actually going to bring these cameras out and broadcast it live, teaming up with military moms and other organizations to send them emails and texts. Tune in at this time, and anyone who can get in front of a computer or get on a smart device will be able to watch the parade live.
Wow. Well, Craig, thank you so much for doing this, because I don't think that people to the degree understand the sacrifices, again, not just from our children that are going, but from the families in general. So when you bring attention to that, it serves so many people. Thank you so much.
No, well, thank you. It's my honor to do it. I mean, listen, it's the fact of the matter is that unless we really focus in on why we have, holiday weekends like we have right now, we lose that meaning. I think that's one of the most tragic things that we can have. And now we'll jump right into the political scene. And, this is a big thing for you. DC to DC. It's right on the website, folks. Diane Costa for Congress.com. If you want to just check it out, I'll just put a link up on the Facebook page for the show. And, first question is, how are you different? How are you running your campaign differently than other people in the past and even currently that you're running against?
Well, I think, as you know, I'm a mediator. I own a counseling and a mediation center. But I think when you talk to people, the number one issue is about communication. So I run it the same way I did as mayor, because your fake phone calls, your brochures in the mail, your TV commercials, your door hangers are one-way communication. If we're going to be representatives, how in the world are we going to know the feelings and thoughts and passions of the people in District 25 unless we're actually knocking on the door and asking them? Yes, it's a lot of work. We've knocked on over 4,000 doors up and down the district, but really that's what needs to happen. That's the way I've run every campaign that I've ever run and won, because the people want to know that their especially representative is interested in what they have to say and what they're passionate about. Well,
the engagement of society, like I just mentioned, 3% of the people are going to show up and vote. That's the numbers right now. Yeah. 3%.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't get more disengaged than that. I think Congress's numbers are better than that, out of D.C. So here we are. Here's Diane Costa. Says, I can make a difference. I can change some of the stagnation, if you will, that's going on in Washington. What do you specifically have to go after? How do we win back the will of the people? I think it's a leadership thing. What are some of the key things that you're going to show people that isn't being done right now in Congress that they can start believing in the process?
Well, I think it absolutely is a leadership thing. And if you listen to any of the times I've talked at the forum, the number one issue is lack of leadership in Washington. But at any level, of course, when I was mayor, but at any level, what the citizens want is accountability and transparency. They want to have faith back in their government. They want it. It is the greatest government in the world. But what's happened is we've left them out. We've not been transparent. We've not cared what they've had to say. We go up there. Well, they go up there and they forget about the citizens back here and really their real intention. And I think some of them may have meant well, but when you're not in constant communication with them, they lose. There's a disconnect. And we have to gain their confidence back in government.
Well, when you have people like Nancy Pelosi running around going, hey, let's pass the bill, and then we'll read the bill. That's pretty in your face, too, because it was the first time I'd ever heard someone in a high office in D.C. on national television go, we're not even going to read this thing. That's unbelievable to people.
Well, I think it goes back to thinking we know better than the people know. And that is why we need to engage with the people. That's why constituency services is critical, because you need to have that pulse on the community, on the district that you serve, so that you know what the people want. And really, we're pretty smart people. We don't need Congress and Nancy Pelosi telling us what we can and can't read. In fact, that she's one person I'll be knocking on her door when I get to Congress.
Could you please do that for me? I'll even give you one of my business cards to say, hey, sent by Craig Bushon Show.
Yeah, and I'll be wearing my real pointed cowgirl boots and let her know what we women in Texas really think about Pelosi.
Well, it's so key on this show. I want to talk about the real stuff. There's talking points everybody has, I get that. But the real stuff is people are pissed off. Damn it, I'm fed up and I'm not going to take it anymore. So I'm not going to vote. I'm like, are you kidding me? And that's where we're at now. People are so mad and so disengaged that they're not voting at all. So I love it when I hear you say, it's about leadership. I completely believe it's about leadership. People don't believe in leadership anymore, and they believe that it doesn't even matter who they vote for, because politicians don't show back up. And once they get into the tower, and then they never come back. I believe that we have to have representatives, whether it's local in the state or in Washington, that go home and explain in detail, here's what we're doing and why, and this is why I made these decisions, and this is why I think you should vote for me again, because I believe, if you win, all the efforts that are happening to get elected now, they need to stay there. We need political leaders engaged with society.
Absolutely. What it takes to get there, it's going to take to stay there. And I believe that the people I believe they've woken up to say, listen, we are going to start to hold you guys accountable. And I am so glad that they are. Look, we've traveled up and down the district and parked at the Dairy Queens of USA up and down the district. And you have people come in and we'll sit for hours talking about the issues. I think what happens is your politicians want the people to come to them. It's time we remember that we need to go to them. We need to go to where they're at, the Dairy Queens, their homes, sit down with them at the barbecues. I have loved every opportunity to sit down and just speak to someone up and down the district about their issues and how they got where they are, and to instill that passion in them that says, you know what, I have hope. That's why we have on our staff seniors in high school to seniors in life, because our message is one of hope and courage and perseverance. And that resonates with our citizens.
Well, I think you hit a key point that I stay on in this show is that I'm really focused on the Y generation. I like the 18 to 29-year-olds. I want them engaged. I wouldn't mind seeing a 28-year-old in Congress. I want some smart young people in there. I'm serious. I believe if we're going to say we're the United States of America, the youth, you look at Facebook, you look at Twitter, look at the Zuckerberg, that big billions of dollars they're worth now, the whole conglomeration of Facebook, they are young and multi-billionaires. They're setting the trend of even how you run for politics, because you got to be on Facebook now, right?
Oh, not just Facebook. That's just the basics.
Oh, absolutely right.
I mean, look at my website. I engage, just as you said, the young people, because honestly, what I'm going to do is not for Diane Costa. It's for the generations to come. And we have got to get them excited and engaged, like the Republican college students, just like your career people. And that's what makes our team so dynamic, that we have, and no other candidate can deny this, the most amazing team of people from 17 years old to 90 years old that are engaging in this election on my campaign, because it is exciting and they recognize that it's about them. We can learn from the past of those that are on my team, and certainly I am learning so much from the young that you are talking about.
Okay, and we've got a few minutes left here. And again, folks, we're speaking with Diane Costa, Republican candidate for U.S. Congress.
Call her online.
D.C. to D.C., okay? And the fact of the matter is, folks, you have to pay attention. You have to be engaged. You have to listen to what people are saying to you. And then, of course, hold people accountable. But the bottom line is, if you're not engaged, 3% is not enough people. I mean, how would any why would any politician be afraid of 3%? I mean, why would you? No one's showing up. And that's how power stays, and power that shouldn't be there stays. And so when you go, say you get elected, you're going to have to battle against that. There's a lot of entrenched people that are just hard-nosed, good old boy and girl.
Yes.
What's the plan? I mean, there's got to be, you're going to have to bring people with you like Reagan did. I always look at Reagan. He came to the people.
Absolutely.
You know, is that kind of your plan?
Absolutely. And I think you have to look at how people are running their campaigns. What message are the people of District 25 getting from us candidates? And I think what resonates is I am going to them. I am asking the questions. And what's interesting is, because when I knock on doors, it's not necessarily a Republican door. And I've got people that are turning over from the Democrat Party because they say they've never had a candidate of any kind in their whole life ever come and talk to them at the door. So it is going back and saying, we're interested in what you have to say. And look, I'm a mediator by trade. That's what made me successful as a mayor. You have people of different political affiliations and everything else. But a true leader is going to bring consensus, not compromise. And you're going to do it in a way that benefits the people. And when you take all the emotion out of the issues and just talk about the facts and what needs to happen, what we need to do for change, you can't argue with that.
Well, the rebel rousing that goes on, and, a lot of people, they vote by snippets, too. They only hear the little snippets that you see. I mean, if I watch the news right now, the only race that's really happening in Texas is the Dewhurst Cruz race, because those are everywhere. Everywhere I go, it's Leppert and Cruz and Dewhurst, and because they got a tremendous amount of money. And they own a lot of the airways. And a lot of people, that's, okay, okay, I'm going to believe what that commercial says, or I'm going to what that ad says. And there's danger in that when they don't get involved, and they don't go to websites and study the person. They don't show up at forums that you're speaking at. And, you know, the whole goal, and the mission that I'm on, is to bring clarity to the state of Texas and for the American people, that they get back and get engaged, so we can have fine people be elected in this country, and we get rid of the ones that are entrenched. And there's no way to get them out of there. Cancer, I call it cancer. And when my wife had breast cancer, they had to go in and cut this lump out, and then that wasn't it. Once they did that, they had to go in and they had to do, they did lumpectomy. They said, well, now we have to do radiation, and then we're going to have to do chemo. That's what we have to do in this country.
Absolutely.
Same thing.
Absolutely. I worked 10 years with cancer patients, and that's a great scenario, because that's exactly what we have to do. And we have to shine the spotlight on those that are entrenched and remind the people that what they're doing. And listen, you said people are angry. They're very angry, not only at what's happening politically, but they are tired of all the mailers, the TVs, the commercials. I cannot tell you how many people I knock on their door, and I have to say, wait a minute, I am the candidate. And they'll say, okay, well, now I'll talk. But they are inundated with this stuff. It's just amazing.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you for coming in today.
Thank you, Craig.
Okay. I thank you for standing up as a woman and a mother also. Okay.
Thank you.
Because I think we need more women in politics. I am on record to say that. I want more women in politics. I know this microphone is on. I know you see me out there, folks. More women in politics. Now, that being said, it doesn't mean that all women who are running should be in politics. I don't mean that. But you're stating the case. You know, folks, you need to go out and go online, go on your smart device. You know, just go to Diane Costa forcongress.com. Okay. Top 2 things why someone should vote for you. That's got a lot, people engaged now. They go, okay, I'll show up. Top 2 things why they should vote for Diane Costa.
Well, I am the only candidate that has run 4 elections and won 4 times as mayor, which is the government closest to the people. And you're held accountable, and there is transparency, but it's not just that you've held a position, it's what you've done during that time. S&P rating jumped 2 notches, safest city in the state of Texas. We can go on and on. But I have the proven record. I've actually done what the other candidates say they can do. And that's important. I think that's what they need. And because they want a fresh voice, that's why they want Diane Costa. They don't want someone who's already been hobnobbing around with Austin politics, Washington politics. They want someone who's fresh and going to listen to them and has knocked at their door and is willing to sit at the local Dairy Queen and listen to their issues. And as a small business person who is going through some of the same issues they are. And in this election, I am that candidate.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you, Craig.
Folks, I don't know about you, but what you've got to do, I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm paying attention. I'm involved. I'm practicing what I preach. You need to do the same thing. Do it for your kids. Show them. Bring them to the polls with you. Explain the process. Say, look, here's why we do this. Hey, it's Memorial Day. Explain to them why it is. A 5-year-old doesn't understand. Explain it to them. Have a conversation. Do it. Like before you get all buzzed, you know, on that old tequila. This is Craig Bushon. When we come back, we're going to get Apostle Claver on. A couple minutes, he's going to give us an update on some David and Goliath races going on in East Texas. And also we have Sheriff Matt coming on in a few minutes too. So, and don't forget, Ted Cruz, 225. This is Craig Bushon. We'll be back.
The Craig Bushon Show. The Craig Bushon Show. The new Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370. KJCE Rollingwood Austin. KKMJ FM HD3 Austin. K242CC Austin. Live and local with Scott Wilder weekdays noon to 2 on the new Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370.
CBS News, I'm Gary Nunn. Oppressive heat today at the Brickyard. Dario Franchitti wins the Indianapolis 500 for a third time, the 10th driver to do so. WBBM reporter Bob Roberts, trackside.
It was the second hottest Indy 500 on record, and plenty hot to the final lap on the track. Takuma Sato and Tony Kanaan were a car length behind Dario Franchitti. Sato on the inside, Kanaan on the outside. Both had him in their sights when Sato hit the turn 4 wall with 1 lap to go, handing Franchitti his third Indy 500 win.
I moved over and I saw he was coming, and I'd come over as he moved, so I came back over and I moved up the track, and I don't know, he got loose. It looks like I just saw the replay. He got loose underneath me.
Scott Dixon finished second, Kanaan third. Bob Roberts, CBS News, Indianapolis.
9 of the original 33 Indy starters failed to finish. Air temperatures hit 91 today, 135 degrees on the track pavement. Battening down and bracing now for Beryl along the Atlantic coast between South Georgia and northern Florida.
People that are near the beaches should be taking it seriously. It's not only going to have some strong winds and heavy rainfall, but there's dangerous surf and rip currents.
Forecaster Daniel Brown expects the storm to make landfall later this evening with heavy rains and winds of up to 65 miles an hour. Members of the United Nations Security Council right now discussing the killing of Syrian civilians in the town of Hula. UN monitors say 116 people, a third of them young children, died in the slaughter, 300 people injured. Jihad Makdisi of the Syrian Foreign Ministry issued a denial that his government is responsible for the massacre. There's no independent confirmation of a new report that at least 30 people have been killed today in the Syrian city of Hama. Army tanks shelled residential areas that have been serving as a base for rebel attacks against government forces. A North Carolina pastor is drawing protest fire for his incendiary sermon.
Providence Road Baptist Church pastor Charles Worley's sermon suggesting gays and lesbians be placed in pens with electric fences until, quote, they die off, prompted hundreds to protest.
I think it's disgusting. Just absolutely disgusting.
It's not fair. It's not fair at all.
The Bible says don't judge, and he is tearing us up.
Police say someone tried to burn down Worley's church Saturday night. Jim Crisula, CBS News, Newton, North Carolina.
Rolling thunder turns the nation's capital into hog heaven.
Many on this ride are veterans from Vietnam.
68 and 69.
I was in Desert Storm.
To those whose families have been serving for generations.
A grandfather, uncle, currently a boyfriend.
It is about community.
If you've never been in combat, it's something you can't understand.
But the annual ride also brings attention to those who never made it home.
I think every American should be proud of what they've done for us. We owe it to them and their families.
Andrew Mullenbeck for CBS News, Washington.
A moderately strong earthquake has just rocked northern Italy, magnitude 4.0. This is CBS News.
This paid promotional programming is brought to you by Focus Media Team.
Printer ink and toner, it's real expensive. That's no surprise. And it costs me anywhere from $30 to $60 just for my little home printer. And at my office, it's even more. Why pay that kind of money when LD Products remanufactured cartridges are 40 to 70% less expensive, and you will not notice a difference? And at my office, we buy in bulk and save even more money. LD Products are easy to order online. Your order arrives in just a few days and costs a lot less. LD Products has good, fast customer service. If you order on the phone, they won't keep you on hold. They'll guide you through the process, and you get a 100% satisfaction guarantee for 1 full year. Order online by entering the make and model of your printer or ink cartridge, or call and talk to a real person. Use the code RADIO at checkout. Get an extra 10% off and free shipping. LDProducts.com. Use the code RADIO at checkout. LDProducts.com.
It's the 3 for sale at Mother's Window Tint. Save on tint, alarms, and car stereos. 3 in window tint from $19 a window. $99 for an entire car. Alarms that start your car by remote control and even send you a notification of trouble from $199. How much does it cost to make your car go thump, thump, thump? Mother Thump, a $1,000 Kenwood car stereo system, just $750, an $800 Sony system, just $599, and a $500 Pioneer system, including subwoofers, just $399. Plus, with every purchase, get a 3-month membership to South Austin Gym and a 1-month express pass to Arbor Car Wash, free. Mother's Window Tint, 3 for you sale. Stores in Austin, San Marcos, and San Antonio. Online at motherswindowtint.com. 28 years serving you with quality products at dirt cheap prices. Mother's Window Tint, home of the tint and alarm special. Remember, do it at Mother's and save.
It's the final days of Nissan's National Tent Event. Get here by May 31st and get up to an additional $1,000 holiday bonus cash on top of existing offers on select sedans, crossovers, trucks, and SUVs. Don't miss huge savings plus bonus cash on our best-selling vehicles. Hurry to Nissan's National Tent Event now with up to $1,000 bonus cash on top of existing offers. For more special savings, visit ChooseNissan.com. Test drive at your local Nissan dealer today. It all absolutely ends by May 30th.
All right, stand by, please.
Nissan for amazing tent event deals and holiday bonus cash.
1,000 bonus cash on Murano, Titan, Armada, Pathfinder, Xterra, and Frontier. 500 bonus cash on Altima, Rogue, Juke, Maxima, and Versa hatchback. On lease and purchase. See dealer for details. From new dealer stock. Valid 5/25 to 5/31/12.
10 years later, we're still the right choice. The new Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370. The Craig Bushon Show. The Craig Bushon Show. The new Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370.
Welcome, folks. Makes me go back to my days when I used to spin records. Yeah. Great tune from a great movie. Little trivia. Anyone knows what movie this came from, give a call, 512-390-1370. If we find out, I'll put it through Jonathan. I'll have a special gift for you. I don't know what it is, but I'll get your contact information. I'll find something for you. I don't know what it is yet, though. Maybe it's just a attaboy. But what movie did this come from? Oh, man. All right, real quick before we get to it, just want to let you know we're also broadcasting live on CBTV Online. So all of you anywhere in the world, a lot of my friends in the armed forces out there, I know some of you are deployed and you are watching it right now. I salute you today. I know this isn't Veterans Day, but this is Memorial Day, and you don't have, I don't know, you can't have Memorial Day if you don't have veterans. And this is a special day to me. Obviously, Organization Heroes Night Out that I'm involved with. I'm very, very humbled every time I get a chance to do anything to bring any of back home to you. And so we thank you for all that you do. And any of you out there that have family members that have passed, you know, God bless their sacrifice. And we hope that you have a wonderful day today. And tip back an iced tea or a beer for them. So, but real quick, we're going to have Sheriff Mack in here. He's actually sitting in the studio right now, but I got a quick update right now. I have Apostle Claver on, also known as AC in my book. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Craig. Thanks for having me back, man. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I got just a couple minutes here because I'm stacked, but you've got some very important information, updates, the David and Goliath that are out there that people normally don't hear about. Go ahead and give the folks the information.
Well, it looks like that we really could have some surprising upsets as far as the House districts are concerned throughout the state of Texas.
Yay.
You can look at several committeemen actually going to take the fall. Potentially Kerry Wise could defeat Harvey Hildebrand, who is the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee, more in the Southwest Hill Country. It looks like Mike Tuffy Hamilton in Southeast Texas could be going down, and this is the chairman of your licensing committee. That was a very heated, very contested, very nasty race between Hamilton and State Representative James White. These guys were both incumbents. Hamilton moved into the district specifically to run against White, and he could get eviscerated for it. And Hamilton heads up your licensing committee. Any gambling legislation would have to go through Hamilton. And that's one of the reasons why when Hamilton was out of money, $100,000 came into his campaign from all the Strauss supporters from across the state, the state representatives. Insurgent candidate Daniel Miller could also be taking out Alan Ritter, who heads up the Natural Resources Committee. Now, Ritter is one of the guys that flipped last time around from Democrat to Republican. but he has pretty much gone into hiding over the last month, has made absolutely no campaign appearances. We feel that the numbers that we're getting out of HD19, which is Hamilton and Ritter, is going to bleed over into potentially Hamilton versus White is going to bleed over into Miller and Ritter. This is another big upset. John Otto could be taken out by Dwayne Stovall. This is the Huntsville area. Potentially, we could have a senator go down. Robert Nichols could go down in East Texas. That's SD3. Insurgent Tea Party candidate Tammy Blair could potentially take him down as well. Now, all these candidates that I'm talking about are candidates that we're working with very, very closely in our campaign called Stampede Texas 2012. And so for all the folks that are out there, if you want information about who our rhino targets are and who some of the candidates are that we actually recruited to try to change the political culture of Texas, this is something that's never been done before. You need to go to StampedeTX.com, StampedeTX.com. We're also going to be giving statewide election results through Twitter and on our Facebook page, Stampede Texas 2012, and at StampedeTX on Twitter. So, it's when you look at some of the polling data, I think it was the Texas Tribune last week released a poll that 54% of Republican voters say that their state representative should not be returned to office. So potentially you could really have a bloodbath across the state as far as incumbents are concerned, and the media is just missing it. They're talking about the Dewhurst-Cruz Leopard race. To some extent, they're talking about SD25. That's Donna Campbell, Jeff Wentworth, and Elizabeth Ames Jones. By the way, we think it's going to be a runoff between Jones and Campbell. And they're talking about the Joe Strauss-Matt Beebe race. And, of course, we had a hand in helping to recruit Matt Beebe to actually run against the Speaker of the House. The rest of these other races, even if Strauss is able to win again in 121, HD 121, the legs will be absolutely cut out from underneath him, we believe. A lot of his chairmen are going to be gone. A lot of his power is going to be gone. But quite frankly, we think he's not going to make it back to the winner's circle anyway.
And real quick, give the website again. Folks need to check out. StampedeTX.com. StampedeTX.com. And, of course, anybody and everybody can always follow us at RagingElephants.org. But go to StampedeTX.com, sign up for email alerts. We're especially going to be getting even more involved, more intensely involved when the runoffs are announced. So we anticipate several runoffs happening throughout the state, and we'll be involved with that as well. Well, as you know, I've got Sheriff Richard Mack in studio right now.
Well, hello, Sheriff. How are you? I hope your race is going well.
Good. I was hoping you were going to say you were watching my race and that I could actually beat the chairman of the judiciary, Lamar Smith.
Well, that's obviously that's a possibility because there's definitely a high anti-incumbent sentiment out there.
Right.
But of course, Sheriff, like we've talked about before, as RagingElephants.org, we've been focusing entirely on what's going to be happening in Austin. If good saints and patriots like yourself in huge numbers aren't elected to Washington, we got to make sure that Austin is straightened out first. It's only going to take people like Richard Mack in Washington to really save this country. This country is in very severe trouble. And if you got a bunch of wishy-washies up there, if you got a Washington, D.C. that's full of Susan Collins, Olympia Snows, and the like, the ability to save the country is going to be extremely difficult. So we focus a lot on Texas.
I know, and I will tell you that I am totally supporting Dr. Campbell. She's a good friend of mine. In fact, Tammy Blair is another one I'm totally supporting. But the three of us were named by CTEX, the Conservative Texas PAC.
Yeah.
We were named the top 10 conservative candidates of all races across the entire state of Texas.
Yeah, and you were. That was CTEX PAC, and that was back a few months ago, and that was an honor that you, Tammy, Donna, TJ Fabby, Chow up there, and Danny Chow up there, and running against, I think that's Barton, and Matt Beebe running against Strauss. All those candidates, very well-deserved titles.
Right. And Matt Beebe, the funny thing...
Genuine conservatives, no compromise, no surrender conservatives that I think if take the oath of office would not embarrass us, not one iota.
Exactly. Very good point. And Matt Beebe is somebody else I totally support. And the rumor is that Strauss is being groomed to take Lamar Smith's place. And so Matt Beebe can get rid of him and get rid of that rumor and tell him to go retire like we should tell Lamar Smith. Hey, normal people want to retire after being in politics after 35 years and being in something 35 years, but these guys just don't want to let go of the money and the power, do they?
No, I mean, and it's an epidemic that I think that the grassroots have bowed their necks to try and defeat. What happens, Sheriff, is, and you've seen this, and Craig has seen this, what happens is these guys win one election and they believe that seat is theirs until they retire.
Absolutely correct.
They actually get offended, and their supporters get offended, their close friends get offended that someone would place their name on the ballot against them in a primary. When we all believe, the three of us believe, I would assume, because this is what I think that there should be a primary candidate on the ballot every election cycle to make these incumbents present an argument for why they should be reelected based on what they did in the last term and what are their goals and visions going forward. They need to earn the right every election cycle.
That's
to be returned
exactly right. There's the big on this program. That's one of the biggest things I want to get across to people is that once somebody gets elected, you're not appointed for life. You've got to show back up in the communities. You have to go back and represent what decisions you made while you were in office. I completely agree with that.
I thought you used the wrong word though, because it is a privilege to run for office. We, the people, bestow this privilege, and that is one place in government that a privilege is bestowed. Government bestows no rights. We, the people, bestow privileges on people who represent us.
Well, I mean, and that's exactly the problem, Sheriff. I mean, it has become, we talk about the entitlement society. Well, government is part of that entitlement society. You have these elected officials. I refuse to call them public servants, which they are elected to be. These elected officials that feel that they are entitled to those privileges. Look, you look at these offices in Austin, for instance, whether it's lieutenant governor, state senator, or state house. They get $7,200 a year, and they are spending millions of dollars to be elected. And the election
why is that? Interesting, isn't it?
Why?
Yeah, no kidding.
That's an interesting.
Why are you spending, let's say, for instance...
Are you saying corruption, Apostle Claver? Are you saying it's because they want power?
Power and a whole lot of perks. Somebody is... I mean, take, for instance, Joe Strauss. We know why he wants to be in office. He wants to advance gambling, and at the end of that line, if he achieves his goal, he and his family are going to reap tens, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. You have a lot of self-serving activities that are happening in Austin. It is a cesspool, and I commend State Representative David Simpson, who's running for re-election up in Northeast Texas, for calling it out as it is. He says Austin is corrupt. And it is. And so we focus a lot on the shenanigans and the immoral behavior of Washington, but unfortunately we have ourselves a cesspool over there in Austin. It really is unfortunate. It's not going to happen. We're not going to be able to clean it up in this one election cycle. It's going to take several. And you're going to have to do it, from the very top, from the governor all the way down the precinct chairs.
Well, I want to thank you so much. I mean, people would think this was planned. They really would. People go, wait a minute. You had Apostle Claver call in, because it's not, folks. This was absolutely coincidental. But the fact of the matter is that it's a good thing. Through the grace of God, all things will be known that will help us cure the sickness, the disease that we have amongst our people in our land. Right. And I want to thank you so much for calling in. And the bottom line is, Sheriff, this is something that this type of conversation is for some sounds, well, you can't say that. Well, yeah, you can. Yeah, yes, we have to. And I want to back up just a moment, because I want people to know a little bit about who you are and put a few notes up. My staff, David always does a good job. We pull some things that we think are relevant so people understand who we're talking with. And again, folks, Congressional District 21. Richard Mack, former sheriff of Graham County in Arizona, was the first sheriff in the country to file a lawsuit against the Clinton administration to stop gun control associated with the Brady Bill. Mack's case went all the way to the U.S. Supreme Court, where he won a landmark decision. decision on the issue of states' rights, local independence. I'm sure you're a huge fan of the 10th Amendment. I think there's some, obviously, this crazy constitutional stuff you're talking about. I mean, it's a rhetoric stuff. What are you talking about? That's an old document. It needs to stay under glass, right? And we got to move on to a more euphoric land. This is a global world, a global economy. Right. We have a presidency right now that is bringing all Americans together for the greater of the whole world.
Well, I think you bring up a very good point, and your sarcasm is very well taken. The Constitution's the only thing that matters, and it's the first thing that every politician ignores. The Founding Fathers actually put it in the Constitution that requires every public official, from the dog catcher all the way down to the president.
Yeah.
That's the right order. Isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah. From the dog catcher all the way down to the president, each of us in government swears an oath to uphold and defend, protect and preserve the U.S. Constitution. My question is, and being a former detective, is there any evidence that exists that any public official keeps that oath?
Right.
No,
right.
They don't.
But where's the prosecution? Where's the prosecution? This is a nation of laws.
Supposed to be.
Okay, we're a sovereign nation, which means that we always talk about, taxation without representation. But back when I was a kid, conjunction, junction. You remember that song, right, folks? Talked about bills and all that kind of stuff. And I'm only a bill. I'm sitting on Capitol Hill. I'm throwing back to the 70s, I know. But the bottom line is, where is the prosecution?
Yeah.
Seriously, how come when we don't enforce the laws, how come the person that has sworn an oath to say that they will defend those laws, when they don't do it, how can they not be breaking the law?
It's perjury. First of all, it's perjury. And secondly, I've had a lot of people come up, especially in the Tea Party movement, and I've been a darling at the Tea Party events all across America. I've appeared, seriously, I've been a keynote speaker at over 120 Tea Party events nationwide, and it's all about the case you just mentioned. It was the most powerful 10th Amendment decision perhaps in the history of America. And how many times has a small-town sheriff, or any sheriff for that matter, sued the federal government? In my case, it was the Clinton administration. I sued the Clinton administration and lived to tell about it. How about that?
Yeah.
Hey, there's a miracle. There's a miracle.
I did not have, Sorry.
Yeah, but anyway, in fact, you got to hear my favorite joke, and I made this up.
Okay.
I made this up. If you look at all the people who sued Bill Clinton way back when he was governor and all the time that he was president, look at all the girls that sued Bill Clinton, blah, blah, blah. I was the only person in history to sue Bill Clinton on a non-sexual matter. How's that? Yeah, thank you for the
the rim shots. We're all
absolutely. But seriously, 6 other sheriffs joined me in that lawsuit. Only one from Texas, which I still find flabbergasting. Astonishing. 254 sheriffs in Texas. One, Sheriff Coog from Valverde County, joined the lawsuit.
I mean, sheriffs are a key part of our society.
Totally.
And look at Sheriff Arpaio in Arizona. What's happening with him? He's obviously a very strong. He's like all about the law, and he's
investigated the president of the United States.
Right.
This guy, as a sheriff, has every authority, has every right, has every responsibility to do just what he did.
And now look what's happening to him. He doesn't care. He's not afraid.
He doesn't care. Well, he's a friend of mine. I talk to him all the time. And in fact, we probably should call him right now and see how he's doing.
As a matter of fact.
I could really.
I could get him up on the line. If you have the number, we can see if we can get Arpaio up on the line. He'd love to join in on this conversation.
He would, totally. And he's a great guy. And I will tell you, he's going to be 80 years old next month. Can you believe that? 80 years old next month.
Wow.
Yeah. And he's still running again. And I told him, I said, come on, Joe, you got to give your wife a break. Go live in Maui for a while or something. You don't need the money.
I will tell you this. So. I will commit to you. I will have you on anytime you'd like. And I want to have a conversation about sheriffs. I want to have a conversation about the battles that Sheriff Arpaio is going through currently, what you've gone through, and how I believe one of the biggest ways we can bring back the sovereignty of this country is through the sheriff's departments of this great land. Because there's 2 worlds that are colliding right now. You have federal laws that are not being enforced, and then it gets thrown on the states, and then the states say, well, I don't have enough money to arrest everybody, but even if they did, then what happens is the federal government comes in and sues you for enforcing the law. At some point, there's a saying, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And to go back to the point you made earlier, the law It's not being enforced.
No,
and
no.
It is something that we have got to start doing, and people are not going by their oath, and that is illegal. I don't even. How do you get around that?
Some people have told me it's treason.
How could it not be?
If you subvert the Constitution, which is the foundation of America, you're right. How could it not be treason?
I couldn't get away with it.
No.
David, there's no way you could get away with it either.
Never.
David Whitehead.
Oh, David never.
Forget it. No. And you're bald.
No.
On top of that.
He's what?
Exactly. But wait, no, you're in a race right now. There's a big deal. You're going against somebody that I know, Mike Asmuth, personally. That's full disclosure. I've known him. I've known him back from the Donna Campbell days. And I've had Lamar on the show.
I'm glad you bring up Mike Asmuth because he's the one doing all the campaigning for Lamar. And in fact, I've met 4 different people who campaigned for Lamar, and Lamar has never been to any of the campaign events. I've been running in this campaign 6 months. I go to every candidate forum, including one today at the Cornerstone Church where all the candidates were introduced. Lamar, was he there? No, of course not. I've never met him once. He doesn't go to any of the campaign events. He doesn't want to stand next to me so that he doesn't look like the liberal that he really is. Mike Asmus is a great guy. We've become friends, but I have beat Mike Asmus up so much, and so has Richard Morgan. We beat Mike Asmus up so much at these events because he cannot justify what Lamar Smith has done in Lamar Smith's record.
Well, I had Richard Morgan on, as you know, this last week, and we talked about the SOPA deal. He's in a generation that the Y generation, the younger folks, they see the Facebook and the Twitter and the website, and they see all that. That's the kind of their domain. That's how they communicate. They don't even call on the phone anymore.
Right.
They do everything through the web. And, and I've had a huge problem with that also. I felt like
everyone should.
Nancy Pelosi is in the room when we don't read bills and we don't read what's going on. And the bottom line is we cannot have this anymore.
No.
We can't afford it anymore. And, you've got some key issues. Obviously, you gave me a card that shows Richard Mack versus Lamar Smith. Go through a couple of those things. Obviously, Lamar Smith isn't here to defend himself, but they always have full access. Everybody knows that. I've had him on the show in the past. But why should people vote for you? What are you going to do for them that they're going to say, okay, dang it. And, for those that say, damn it, I'm not going to take it anymore. But, man, whoever I vote for is not going to change. They're going to get into Washington, and they're not going to change a darn thing. Convince them right now that is not true.
Well, first, I just want people to look at my record. Look at what I have done and look what I have stood for. The Constitution is my middle name. It's my calling card. It's the reason that I risked everything to sue the Clinton administration. Most sheriffs in this country said, oh, no, I don't want to get involved in that. Oh, yeah, it's a freedom issue, but, I can't stand up to the federal government. I have even heard sheriffs say this and other public officials. Oh, yeah, we take an oath, but I don't have the authority to keep it. No, I'm serious. I've actually heard public officials say that.
You're right.
And so they won't stand for what they swore to do in the first place. I will. Now, first and foremost, I will say this. There are a lot more reasons to vote against Lamar Smith than there are to vote for Richard Mack. And I'm really glad, and feel free to argue with me on that and disagree with me. That's fine. Now, some people have. I still believe it with all my heart. First and foremost, we were never intended to have career politicians. Lamar Smith is a Washington, D.C. insider. He's been part of the problem. Let's talk about one simple little thing there. Lamar Smith has voted 7 times to raise the national debt. And Pastor John Hagee at Cornerstone Church, he talked about politics on the stand. How dare he? But he did. And he said, this country can no longer afford, financially or morally or spiritually, to have people believe in high office that we can spend our way out of debt, or that even worse, that we can actually pay off existing debt with more credit cards. And Lamar Smith has done that 7 times. He's promised all of us here in Texas that if he has to, he'll do it again. And this is absolute lunacy that we turn to leaders like this that do the same thing Barack Obama has done, same thing other I admit President Bush has done, that tell you to believe that we should get more debt on top of our debt, that we should borrow 42 cents on every dollar we spend in this country, and this is how absolute crazy it gets. We literally borrow money from Red China.
Right.
From communist Red China, we borrow money from them to do what? To turn around and give that money in foreign aid to Pakistan, Egypt, Jordan, and Greece, and other third world countries that vote against us 78% of the time in the United Nations. Even if they didn't, which I don't even believe we should be in the United Nations, but that's another story. Even if we didn't do that, we can't afford to give foreign aid to people when we're borrowing the money to do it in the first place. That is absolute insanity. If any of the voters want to stop this sort of insanity, I am offering myself as an alternative. I will never vote to raise the national debt, which now exceeds our GDP. Does everybody know what that means? You take all the wealth of every American, okay, of every citizen in this country, whatever you own, all your possessions, all your jobs, all your money, all your income, if you take all of that and put it together in one pile, our debt now exceeds that. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear fellow Americans, who do you think has caused that problem? Lamar Smith's going to tell you it was Barack Obama. That is absolutely a lie.
I will tell you this. I tell everyone I know that says that, well, you know, I've got the answer, and they have a PhD, or they have their MBA, or they're in finance, or they have crystal balls, or they're in the stock market, or they went to Harvard or Yale or Princeton. I say, listen, I could figure it out on a made in China, purchased at Walmart calculator how not to get $16 trillion in debt. It didn't happen last week. It didn't happen this election. It didn't happen last election. It started happening before I was born, and I'm 44 years old. This is, in my opinion, a systematic decline of this country. For some reason, we have the strongest military on God's green earth to ever exist in mankind.
Right.
We can't defend our own borders. We
refuse.
Right. Well, denial is
even worse.
Right. And then we have we have capitalism, which is like the military's version of market.
Right.
And we have the strongest, which is called capitalism. Right. And it is governed by laws, and it's governed by fair trade. And for some reason, we're losing on that front, too, to communism. There is this is not on accident, this is on purpose.
Yes.
There's no way to be that good at those two things and be losing every day.
Right.
It's not possible. It's impossible. And then it pushes me to the point of taxation without representation.
Right.
We pay taxes. The number one authority that the government is supposed to do is to keep us a free, sovereign nation, to protect us from outside the border. So in my terminology, in some cases, it's all guns out, in a sense.
Right.
And we're not doing that anymore.
My favorite perspective, I put the war on terror and our lack of security at the border in this perspective. And it's all true. And this is kind of something I think I do good, and was taught to do this when I was a detective. My chief of police always said, get up in the helicopter and look down at the case and piece it all together. And I think if you look at the war on terror and our lack of security at the borders, you can come to this conclusion. It is now, because of our federal government and our leaders in Washington, D.C., it is now easier for a terrorist from the Middle East, to come into the United States from our southern border. I'm not talking about somebody from El Salvador, Guatemala, or Nicaragua, or Mexico coming in here. That happens all the time. I'm talking about a terrorist from the Middle East entering our country through our southern border. It's easier for him to get into our country than it is for you and me to get on an airplane.
Yeah, but some of those terrorists have ranks now in the military, too.
Of course.
Because we're seeing them, and it's unfortunate. I'm heavily involved with the armed forces.
It's documented that what you're saying is absolutely true.
It's a fact. But, okay, how do we fix it? Okay, let's bring it down. Here's the average person listening. Okay, most people, they're disengaged because they've been trained to be disengaged. I mean, we'll have 3% of the people to show up to vote for...
Two things.
How do we get
I can tell you how to fix the border.
Again?
Okay, It's very simple. Two things. We must stop all government freebies to people who come into our country illegally. You cannot say it's against the law to come here, but if you do, we'll give you free medical care, we'll give you free housing, free clothing, free food, free education, and anything else you need, and driver's licenses and Social Security cards. And we literally give these people, and this is documented as well, we literally give these people earned income credit for filing tax returns, and we give them money to help with their children, even if they don't live here. And that's all documented. The IRS has said they spend about $10 billion or lose $10 billion on that every year. We must stop this sort of insanity. Second, first, let's review. First, you stop the government freebies, because that's what lures him here. Second, we send the military all over the world to protect borders, and yet we don't protect our own.
But that's on purpose, Sheriff Mack. That's on purpose. It's not possible. You know how many veteran friends I have? A lot.
Well,
I mean SF guys. I mean, guys like say, Craig, let's make no mistake. Some of my teams, make no mistake. There'd be no issues on the borders, but they're handcuffed.
I know. And it's our stupid federal government, including our Congress, who does not protect our borders.
But what's the advantage for them? Why don't they? Because the average person's thinking, why?
The advantage is, first, they keep their word and they secure our country. And Article 4, Section 4, or the U.S. Constitution says the federal government's supposed to protect our borders.
No, the opposite side. Why don't they do that? Obviously,
playing patty cake with the Hispanic vote.
It puts a huge question mark, folks, on why. Well, first of all, back up. This is a lot of conversation, and there's a lot of energy. And why is that? Because it is truly, and you folks, you know this, and I've talked about this for years now, it is truly our sovereignty. Yeah. You know, it is truly about making sure that this country defines what it is, and it's losing its definition because we, the people, aren't getting engaged. We need you to show up and vote. You need to go to sheriffmackforcongress.com. You need to go there, read his biography, read about what he is, what he's trying to,
Google me. You can find out independently who I am and what I've done.
That's all you got to do now these days.
Yeah, look at my record.
Google Sheriff Mack.
And look at Lamar's record and compare the two. And I still have this versus Lamar Smith flyer that I want to say.
I'll hold that up right now to the camera just so you have it, because some of you can do freeze shots on this and you can read it, because we piped this out through CBTV Online, so people will be watching this. It's being repropagated. It automatically, it's going all over the world. So, folks, here's what it is. Here's what it looks like. You can pause it right now and you can read it. And, the bottom line is that we got a couple minutes left. Tell the folks why they need to care.
Well, look at his record and look at mine. First, I'm a veteran law enforcement officer. He's a veteran attorney. I'm a former sheriff. He's a career politician. Number 3, I sued the Clinton administration and won a case at the U.S. Supreme Court on the 10th Amendment and states' rights. Number 4 for him, he supports Washington, D.C. bureaucracies running Texas. Number 5, I was voted one of the top 10 conservatives in all the state of Texas. Lamar Smith was voted the most liberal Republican from Texas by the Heritage Foundation. Number 6, I believe in limited government and less spending. He believes in the federal government should regulate the internet. Number 7, I'm a Tea Party activist. I've appeared at over 120 different Tea Parties across the country. He's a Washington, D.C. insider. Number 8, I'm a strict constitutional conservative. Lamar Smith voted for the Patriot Act, which I would have never voted for. It was completely guts the Fourth Amendment. He voted for No Child Left Behind. He voted for the NDAA, which was the worst abuse of power since King George III sent redcoat soldiers to America. He is the author of SOPA and other internet regulating and controlling internet legislation. And he voted for the huge Wall Street bailouts, including TARP. I would never do any of those things. First of all, if you want someone who will really reduce the size and scope of government, then you want Sheriff Richard Mack in Washington, D.C. Lamar Smith has had 24 years to get it right. He has done nothing to get government off your back. He has done nothing to rein in the IRS or the income tax or to get the EPA, FDA, and all these other agencies off your back and to stop controlling Texas. We do not need the Department of Education running education in Texas. Lamar Smith funds that to $100 billion a year. And there's a lot of these agencies that are so corrupt, so superfluous, and so unnecessary that we need somebody in Washington to start paying attention to getting rid of these agencies. Lamar Smith has never done any of that. I will. It's time to get a real conservative in Washington, and that is me.
Sheriff Mack, thank you so much for coming in today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I like people with passion. You know, folks, they're on the other side too, you know. The rabble-rousers. And they've been controlling things a long, long, long time. And the only way we're going to fix the problem in this country is to get the power back. You have the power. I have the power. It's through the vote. You got to show up. You got to stand up. Because once you vote, then you're heard. Don't believe the rhetoric. Don't believe that it doesn't matter. This is a Memorial Day weekend show. You know, this is the Memorial Weekend, I should say. And this is what it's about. Folks, show up at the polls. Go to sheriffmackforcongress.com. Get involved and get the vote out. This is Craig Bushon. When we come back, we're going to focus in. I get a little flushed when I get all excited like I have. And I've been teaming up with Novitas Spa. We're helping me with that. I think it makes my rosacea worse, but it's a price I must pay. Also, we rescheduled Ted Cruz for Tuesday on the CBTV broadcast, so very excited about that. We've just been running late today. Hey, listen, it's just me and you, folks, on the Craig Bushon Show. We'll be back. Hey folks, it's Craig Bushon. Overwhelmed by all the different advertising choices you have? Are you keeping up with your social media and SEO marketing? You should be covering a broad range of media, but many companies don't know which are working and which aren't. How about hyper-local marketing? What? Call Focus Media Team today for a free consultation, 877-572-4058. That's 877-572-4058, or go to focusmediateam.com.
God created gold and silver, man made paper money, which is worth more and which will last longer.
Listen to Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370, Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m.
1-888-551-2646.
I really trust God.
It's the final days of Nissan's National Tent Event. Get here by May 31st and get up to an additional $1,000 holiday bonus cash on top of existing offers on select sedans, crossovers, trucks, and SUVs. Don't miss huge savings plus bonus cash on our best-selling vehicles. Hurry to Nissan's National Tent Event now with up to $1,000 bonus cash on top of existing offers. For more special savings, visit ChooseNissan.com. Test drive at your local Nissan dealer today. It all absolutely ends by May 31st. So get to Nissan for amazing tent event deals and holiday bonus cash.
1,000 bonus cash on Murano, Titan, Armada, Pathfinder, Xterra, and Frontier. 500 bonus cash on Altima, Rogue, Juke, Maxima, and Versa hatchback. On lease and purchase. See dealer for details. From new dealer stock. Valid 5/25 to 5/31/12.
Wow, how about...
All right, 20.
From Flo Grills. Looked like a perfect Father's Day gift to me.
Well, I didn't know I was married to Bobby Flay.
Make Dad's grilling dreams come true with Flo Grills. Stop by the showroom at 183 near Anderson Mill or visit flogrillsaustin.com.
Integrity, I've always said it is, what you do when somebody else is, when no one's watching you. When no one's watching you, that
somebody's always watching.
Is that the way?
Stand by.
I guess. Absolutely. Wait a minute. Big Brother's there? Really? I did hear there's drones flying around the state of Texas now, so I go.
The Craig Bushon Show. The Craig Bushon Show. The new Talk Radio 96.3 and 1370.
Hey, welcome back, folks. Now I get to relax a little bit. I love this time of the show. The Novitas Spa Beauty and Business. I just look at me. Look at me on camera. Look at me. I'm relaxed. I have Megan DiMartino in studio. How are you?
I'm great.
I love your hat.
Thank you, sir.
I know I have bad posture right now, but I don't care. It's been a show. It's been a lot of stuff going on, and I know that small businesses. You're a small business owner, and obviously this is the Novitas Spa Beauty and Business, and in the future we'll share what that is on the business side. But this is the time of year I have a lot of political stuffs going on. As you know, I'm a delegate, and I've got all these things that small businesses are heavily influenced by politics. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So,
and we should all be very, very aware of what is available to us and what we should be focusing on, because it is our responsibility.
Well, and God bless you for all the things that you do to help me recoup, because it takes it out of me. But I love it so much, though. Hey, guess what? I'm taking my headphones off because I'm not going to take any calls right now, because I'm going to show you what I brought today. All right, just one second here. Yesterday I was MC for the first annual, it was a 2012 Heroes Night Out barbecue for our veterans in Memorial Day and all that. Yes. And so I was outside all day because it was an outdoor forum. It was great. We had Congressman Carter there and tons of veterans there and their families. We had music, but I'm outside a lot. I'm like, if I'm going to be outside, I need to protect myself. And so I put Sunblock 1000 on, I think it was. I don't know what it is. It was but it was very high SPF on my arms and stuff. But then I put my hat on.
Great.
See? Now I've got my hat.
Now we're twins.
You see? Look at this. No flowers for me, though.
No,
I'm sorry.
Okay. This is my Memorial Day summer hat.
Well, and I wore this hat all day.
Looks great on you, though.
The entire day. This is my Tommy Bahama hat. I'm a huge Tommy Bahama fan.
Yes.
And it made a huge difference. I had a friend of mine who wore a baseball cap all day.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't help much.
No.
Burnt all over the side of his face. Sunburn. Literally sunburn.
Absolutely.
And it is because he didn't have... this brim going all the way around, and talk a little bit about that. The hat itself, we can do a lot of stuff to prep ourselves, to take care of our skin, eat healthy diets, all that kind of stuff. But if you're going to be out in the sun, especially this hot Texas sun, a hat is very important.
It really is. We're not trying to promote the fashion industry, although we look great. But wearing a hat, as I shared this last week, that after a certain point in the year, the sun in Texas is just, and we have very little cloud cover, and so because of that, it's just boiling. Beating.
And a lot of people wear baseball caps, or they'll wear something that's got a very small brim on it, and that doesn't do much good. I mean, the sombrero was invented by people who are out in the sun all the time, and that's a really big brimmed hat, and I think that's kind of on purpose.
I'm sure it is. I'm sure it was, rather. That, the Mexican sombrero was designed years and years ago for people who were in the sun all the time. Absolutely.
Well, and as you know, folks, I have started a treatment, and it's a 6-stage treatment at the Novitas Spa, and I brought in to show you some of the stuff that I'm using, and we can talk about it a little bit also, Megan, because, it is something new to me, because it's a step process. All right, and I have to do it on purpose. It's not going to get on, the treatment's not going to happen on its own.
Right.
I have to show up.
Yes.
And then once I show up, and I want to talk about that treatment too, I had a very, very... I've always had a situation, like I said last week, where it can be embarrassing for me because my face will get red, and people think that I'm outside all day. And so I had this very exciting treatment I started last Monday, and it was light. And this photo facial, but using light technology, folks, and it had no pain, and it was amazing. But tell the folks what I went through. I'll tell them from my end first. I go in, it's like I'm sitting down, I'm laying down. It's a fantastic experience. Like you lay down on a table to get a facial or massage, right? And all of a sudden, I'm closing my eyes, and then there's this machine that's putting off light. Tell about that a little bit, because it was completely painless. And once you explain that, I'll tell what my experience was after that.
Well, the photo light rejuvenation, this technology was developed by NASA 60 years ago as they were developing the space program. Their position on infrared visible red light was photosynthesis. Their position was to see if they could develop food substance in space. And so growing a plant. Well, if it can grow a plant, what can it do for us? So it's very cellular. It immediately went into the medical world where it's still used for wound healing, specifically for diabetics, pain management, for arthritic conditions, neuropathies, and nerve damage. So it's very cellular, and it's still used today. And actually growing more and more. Many physical therapists use photolight rejuvenation. Came into the aesthetic world in the early 2000s as the medical world was starting to bridge its gap to aesthetics. And so it's very, very effective for acne. It kills bacteria on contact. It's very effective for rosacea and vascular conditions because it basically works with that vascular highway, which is underneath the stratum cornea, the top layer of the epidermis, and it's strengthening that vascular highway. And if, in fact, you have broken capillaries, it will start to work with diverting that blood pooling, because if a capillary breaks, it's just a little break in the chain, so to speak, and then that blood that was in there just is pooling. So it'll start to disperse that, but also to strengthen that vascular highway, but calm it down. Calm it down, because that's why you'll share this with the audience, but that your skin, you called me and you said that my skin feels so much cooler. Well, we all live in our own skin. And so therefore, if your skin is dry, you may not even realize it's dry, but then if you have a treatment and it is then hydrated, your skin feels different.
Sure.
You go, oh my goodness, my skin feels different. It's the same difference with rosacea. Because of that vascular buildup, it's like if you, let's say, tend to blush, if you get embarrassed. Well, your skin doesn't feel hot or warmer if you blush. And so the same difference. You have that vascular buildup, and so your skin, just in your own skin, feels warmer. So that light therapy just calmed it down.
Well, I have to tell you, what Megan's talking about, and look, David's back. You're wearing the wrong hat, by the way. David Whitehead. Just want to let you know. We need to get you a better hat, because that's the exact hat. We see it on studio in cameras right now. That is the wrong hat right now to be out in the sun with. Look, it's not protecting your head at all.
But I don't mean to interrupt, but it is a step in the right direction.
It is. Thank you. I was being too hard on you, David. I apologize, Megan. Thank you so much. I tend to be, it's either perfect or I don't want it. And the bottom line is, you're right, because the top of his head is protected. Right? Yes. And then the front, you got that visor right there. But you see this? Look at Megan and I. See, I think it's fantastic that this is a great representation, because a lot of people wear caps. I've even seen people who have got cancer on their ears.
Yes, it is actually
because their ears are exposed.
Yes, very much so.
So we're joking around here, of course, David. It's great that you are now wearing a hat. But the fact is that protection's a big deal. But to go back to what Megan was talking about, I went and had the treatment done, and I go back again tomorrow. And I actually called her, and I said, Megan, something's interesting. Just tell me if it's in my head, but my face feels cooler. And then you explain what you just explained to the folks. And I got to tell you, it also took pressure away from my face a little bit. You could feel, because I've lived with it for a long time, I actually felt less stress, if you will. That's the best way I can put it, I guess.
Yes.
Where it felt more relaxed, cooler, calm. The air conditioning in my car, I could feel better. Now, this may sound like, wow, are you kidding me? It's like a magic pill. No. This is really what I experienced.
It's dilation of that capillary. And so it really will, as he just mentioned that he's coming tomorrow. So as you have more, that will continue to evolve, and so we will eventually get in front of the condition where you will have a new norm.
Right. It's like we're chasing pain. They always say if you get a headache, take something when it first starts to come on, because if you wait to get, say, a sinus headache, now you're chasing the pain. And in this case, I'm chasing the many years of me just not, I was just living with it.
Right.
And now I got to tell you, folks, this is just a fact. I mean, you know me. I'm like a realist. If it didn't work, I'd be like, it ain't working. It is amazing. And I can't wait for the next treatment, because I want this to go on. I want it to be, I need to, I guess, retrain my body in a sense, and I need to help restore some of the things that have gone bad for a long time. But also after that, I have maintenance I have to do, folks. What does that mean? There's steps. There are some things that I brought in, okay? This is Melt Away. And I got to tell you, I use this in the shower with the little brush thing that turns That
The
thing.
cleansing brush,
Yeah.
yes.
See, that's the way guys think. We're like, you know that thing that turns like a drill that has a buffer on it?
Right.
That's what I'm using on my face. Don't use a drill on your face, folks. Just want you to know. But the fact of the matter is, this is what I'm using. It foams up. It's nice. It smells good. And then when I use this, okay, talk about that real quick. So what is this?
Well, first of all, one really important point is
Sure.
that if Craig were just coming for treatments, that would be good. But on the other side of the coin, home care working back to treatments is really
right.
going to build
Yep.
upon itself.
Yep.
So it's like brushing and flossing. What we're about to talk about is his home care. And this will then work in tandem with the treatments and maximize the effect of the treatments. Because again, his vascular situation is below the epidermis, but he still has skin, so to speak. And so they work synergistically together. So this is his home care that he's doing AM, PM.
AM, PM.
And then the treatments will work that much better for him.
And first of all, for myself, I'm like, okay, I have to schedule this in. How am I going to do this? Well, AM, PM. Pretty basic. When I'm getting ready to go somewhere in the morning, go into work, and then before I go to bed. No pressure. Just that's it. When I'm going to brush my teeth, I just do these other things. When I'm in the shower is when I use this or I use this, and obviously there's steps here, but there's an AM and there's a PM. What's the difference between those two? When someone's doing the AM and then the PM, is it necessary to have to do both all the time, or can you just do one and then do the other, or?
Basically, this is a three-step system with an AM/PM concept that can be customized. So when I say customized, what we do at the Novitas Spas after the first visit, we give every guest what we call the Miracle Bag. And the Miracle Experience Bag has a 2 to 3 week try-me size of what we're speaking about here. And what we say to people is just put what you're currently using over to the side, use this together, because you won't know if you like it if you're mixing other things together. So use it alone, but use it the AM/PM fashion. But we also say that down the road, you may put your own, that's the customizing, you may put your own system together, one cleanser, one booster, one moisturizer.
Okay.
So, but each product has its own personality with different components to it. But they all have our proprietary ABC complex, pharmaceutical grade alpha hydroxy, beta hydroxy, stabilized vitamin C, and then other antioxidants and hydrating ingredients. But they all have that ABC complex, the cleansers, the rapid exfoliators, which are the step 2s, and the moisturizers. And they work synergistically. Many companies have a line of products for hydration, and then they'll have exfoliation systems, and then they'll have acne systems, and they'll have hyperpigmentation systems. This system, our philosophy, is to synergistically put it together to work together in tandem. So to answer your question, not to bore your audience, but basically each product, as I said, has its own personality. So the AM cleanser is a sloughing cleanser or gentle exfoliation cleanser with jojoba beads, round and soft, so they won't tear the cellular structure. Melt-Away, which Craig held up, is a gentle foaming cleanser, which is gentle enough to remove eye and facial makeup. Smells great, as you said, but men use it to shave with.
Right.
So
I was
it's
gonna
a
say,
system that can be used by both men and women.
I've been finding my own way that what I like. I actually will take this and I use it in the shower.
Right.
And I like it.
So what he's saying, folks, is that this is going to be his step 1.
Right.
He's found that this is what he likes more so. But had he not gotten the Miracle Bag a couple of weeks ago
That's right.
and tried it as a system first, he wouldn't have really gravitated to that. He'd still be in that transition trying stage.
Well, I'd be doing nothing like I did for many, many, many years. I did nothing. And, this is something that it truly, folks, it does change your life because it makes me feel better than I've ever felt before in a certain place, which is my face. And you don't really realize that I live with the flushing feel, okay?
Exactly.
And, I'm excited about it for you folks to learn more about what we're doing with the Novitas Spa beauty and business, because to me, the bottom line is if you don't know about these things, and you just like I haven't known about them for a long time, and now that I do, I want to be more involved. I want to get more engaged. Listen, there's more people out there not taking care of themselves than are.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
The preaching to the choir is not what we're doing here. A lot of people that listen to my program, and a lot of people that are men, they are not buying the stuff, and they should be. They should be paying attention. Okay, we got a minute left.
Okay.
I want to really focus in on the this product here versus this product here. And so folks, we have step 2, AM and PM. These things are so easy to use and put on and it smells fantastic, and I actually feel that it absorbs into my skin. It's not oily. I don't feel it. An hour later, I'm rubbing it on my face. It's fantastic.
Well, these are the rapid exfoliators. What I mean by that is if I took a piece of tape and took everyone's skin cells and put it under a microscope, that top layer of the skin, the stratum corneal, looks like a wall. And we have cell turnover. It thickens. It builds up. You can have rosacea. You can have dry skin, oily skin, regardless. But if, in fact, you do not exfoliate that wall, nothing will penetrate through. So that will dissolve that wall. AM is a serum, PM is a gel. They both have the same concentration of our proprietary ABC complex.
Well, I just love it. That's what I say. Folks, it's changing my life. Please go. Give them the website. Then go directly to
www.novitasspa.com.
Novitasspa.com. I have links up on Facebook. I'm going to be talking about it. There's pictures. Tune in this week. No show tomorrow. We have Memorial Day, Tuesday, back up 2:30. So thank you so much. God bless. Hug a vet today. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. And go check out Novitas Spa. Thank you so much. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you, David Whitehead. Get you a different hat. Thank you, folks. Have a great day.
The preceding paid promotional programming was brought to you by